Zimbabwe, some moved to the east at Tulamela archaeological site. Some moved downwards, and they came up the mountains, led by a small group of Basenzi, Venda people today. They come and stop at Randari, up the mountains there. That's where we call it Chiendeulu today. I will tell you the reason why they changed the name from Randari to Chiendeulu. And when they were led there, the reason Makado moved to there, he was following his uncle, Nechiendeulu, Ramjaya Penga. So they moved up there, and when they arrived there, because the Nechiendeulu, all the surnames of the Venda people starting by Ne. These are the two groups, the Wangona and the Batabatsindi clan. So they're the ones who are owning these surnames, Ne. So Nechiendeulu is a Ngona. So when they arrived there, because of the strongholds of ancestors of the Wangona people, they didn't mix with them. They showed them the place where they can build and stay, and they went to build there and stay. But this group which was joining the uncle was full of strongmen hunters. So they will wake up every day in the morning and go to the bush hunting and come back with the meat. And no wonder we say ladies were remaining at home, making it clean, caring for children, cooking and doing other things, carrying water from the fountains and so on. Men will be responsible with food, so they must bring food at their house every day. So they were shown another mountain by the uncle that when you hunt, because you are hunters, you must not go there because it's dangerous. That is the cave of our ancestors. So the young men, the young king and all the people that he was leading, they used to hunt every day, and they wake up morning and go to hunt. And then as they are hunting every day, they were extending the boundaries. And then they go closer to the cave of the ancestors. And as they got the rock daisies, and they get into the cave, and the dogs chase the rock daisies into the cave. And the king said, let me follow the dogs, and then as they kill the daisies inside, I will be taking them, throw them out. And he went in, and a big stone fell from above and closed the cave. Then I grew up having this story, and I could not even understand why people didn't push it away. That was my biggest question. I will answer it today. Then, everything that is done by ancestors, nobody must undermine it, nobody must tamper with it. So the strong belief to ancestors of the Venda people, then after realizing that the cave is closed, nobody could get in there. How did they know the king is in the cave? One of the dogs which was chasing the rock daisies was left outside, and those dogs were well educated, were well taught to go and report back, because sometimes when they have killed a lot of carcasses, one dog will go to the village and report, and they will follow it, and then they will assist to carry this meat back home. Then, like usual, the dog went back to the village and informed the people, and they followed it until they come to the cave of the ancestors. And they realized they cannot go closer because this is the ancestral cave. Then they reported to the uncle, and the uncle was the one who came, and he went closer, and the king inside heard the uncle talking from outside, and they started to conversate for a number of days, and they even take an oath. They agreed, they take an agreement. The king and the uncle and the king, they agreed that the uncle will never move away. He will stay in that village as a way of guarding the grave, because nobody will get into and take him out. Nobody was allowed to push away the stone, because this was the decision of the ancestors. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So did he die inside there?
He died inside.
Even now, like
even today, it's known it's his.
It's still closed.
Yes.
He died. It's never been opened.
It is said the conversation took something like 7 days, and after 7 days they no longer hear the voice, so they take it that he's dead. And now they changed the name from Randari to Chiendeulu. Chiendeulu means the burial site of the royal people. You understand what I'm saying? Then after that, they realized that there are some problems with the ancestors of the Wangona people, and this Venda group moved it down to this place, and they come and build another area this side. That's where we are now. Now, in my argument with the department nationally or provincially, is we cannot promote this side only. It is always having a strong relationship with the side up there. If I took you up there, you will still see this is the house of the king. Even it's more clear than here. And the ruins up there, you can still see them. It's only that we are not going up there, but we have to make a long drive.
So where is that cave? Sorry.
It's behind the mountain. This
Behind
mountain
this
is behind.
mountain?
Yeah, behind this
Okay.
mountain. Yes.
But nobody goes there now. You can't.
The owners of the cave, the Nichendeo, the uncle
Yeah.
to the king, they can still do their ancestors, but on the side,
Okay.
outside now, because they cannot open
They
it.
can't
That was
approach
the
it,
decision
yeah.
of the ancestors. Anything done by the ancestors, nobody alive must change it.
And do they know how long ago this
What year was
happened?
this?
Some 100 years, plus minus 90 to 100 years.
Okay, 100 years ago. Wow.
Yes. So now, here they came as one group again, and they stayed here. Now this is where the biggest split of the Venda group happened. Some went to east, and first, before they splitted, the king will always take his boys to give them villages like Chirurunis and Tumure. That side where I said is western. They will go and stay there and become kings. But there came a time when they coronated Thoyando as the king of Dzata, and now Thoyando, because of problems of the family, you know, Katabayaboshi will always fight for kingship and whatever. Thoyando fled, and nobody knows until today where he fled to. Then the children from Chirurun and other areas, they started to come back because they all wanted to become kings, not headmen. So they started to fight for kingship, and by then there was one who was coronated here by the name of Rarusiero. We have got one school at Sibasa they called Rarusiero.
So did Toyando had followers when he ran away?
Yes, once he ran away, they coronated Rarusiero.
No, I'm saying when he ran away.
No, he went away alone. Nobody followed him, and nobody knows where he went.
Okay.
Right now they coronated Rarusiero, and when the other children from this big family heard from away, they all came in and they wanted to become kings. And then Rarusiero fled also because he was fearing the other guy called Mpofu, because he was a great fighter. And then Rarusiero went to east, and then he started his kingdom. And because of his style of fighting, because he was moving towards the east, burning the houses of people, all those who he got on the way, just burned their houses, fight them, defeat them, and took them. And then like that, they gave him a nickname, Chivasa, Midiabatu, Wawasarauchena, a fighter, a banner of other people's houses. Then that's where the surname Chivase came from. It means Chivase is his real surname is Ramabrana or Mpepu, whatever you can say, but he's from this family. Now that's the beginning of the split of Chivase. So that's the small history. Then we got
What year was this, by the way?
I'm sorry.
What year the split?
Yeah,
and all that?
you know, our history has got a problem of years. And most of the time you will not find that specific years, but we use estimates. Then it might be, it's hundreds of years somewhere there. It's a bit old. So now that is the thing. And from here, I would prefer that we go to a real Venda culture. Women do not become part of decisions of running families and land. Therefore, at the chiefs or the king's palace, there is a place where men will gather every day to discuss the problems of and the management and the administration part of the whole village or the whole group. Then this is like a cycle like this, and there will be all those chairs sitting around, and when they sit, there will be a side where the king will sit with the supporters. Those who are closer to the council, and then there will be a side where if there is a problem like they also it serves also as a court, traditional court. If myself and maybe him and then we fought over a girl, he came and report me. We will sit that side, and then they will have to listen to our matter and they judge. So it happened here. The whole administration and the plans how to run the country, which will happen here. The court.
But do they still do it like that here?
No.
No, not anymore.
It's just an explanation.
Okay.
No. So that this is one information I said. Then the decisions that will be taken here by men, each man came representing his own house. Will take the information back to the house. Same. Today we have finalized. As from today, all women must wake up at 4 o'clock, go up to the fountain, come back with the water, and the water goes to the king's house. I mean, if that was the decision. So they don't have time to say no, but they will be given instruction and they go there. That is why in our culture, they don't marry me, I marry them.
Okay.
As when in your language, you marry each other. In our culture, I am the one who take out lobola, and it means I'm marrying her to my house. Then when she comes there, she comes as a property she was bought. That is an old way. That is why when we take decisions, she is not considered being a person. She is considered as a property. Then the decision that we take, it bind her. But it's no longer like that. People, we must always compare. This has been faded with time.
But that's how it was in those days.
That's how it was.
So the women didn't have time to think about women's rights and things.
No, there was no rights of
There was
women.
no time.
No.
They had to go fetch water.
And remember, I'm starting it in between. I'm just cutting the things. Manaka, my daughter, will not even decide to be married by who. The other family will love to marry in this family. They don't love a person. They love the life of this particular family.
Yeah.
That is why they will come and marry in this family, because this family is not. It's good. It doesn't have witchcraft problem. It doesn't have people who steal, and so the good life of the family. Then they will send a person, can we marry your daughter? If I give decision as a father that yes, even if she never met you and she doesn't know you, then I get the money or the cattle, then she will go and be married there.
Indians
Today?
No more.
Indians do that today. Indians, huh?
What? So that's
Indians they still do it.
all right. Now let's move to the. If we are walking up, from that side up to where we are, you can see the color of the soil has changed.
Yeah.
Can anybody spot and try to tell me why the reason of the change of this soil? When you enter into the Venda culture family, on the way before you come to the houses, you will pass a crow. So this was where Vaganali crow owner. If you check there, it was part of the crow, the goat, the home, and all those. So because of the fertilization, the color of the soil changed.
So I can plant here.
Yes.
I'll have, okay.
You can plant.
Very fertile. Okay.
Yes. And even if you come during the grass time, if you check the grass which grew up in this area, you can see it's not similar to the grasses that grew up a distance away from this area.
Okay.
All right. King Dimbanyika, he was known to be a hard fighter. When he died up there, then the people who came down here, the men were still strong to can fight. So most of the people know him as a fighter. Then most of the kings would like to come and honor him for his bravery, because they didn't want these people to come and fight them, because they were also known for a drum magic called Ngoma Rungundu. This drum used to move on with the Venda people. As they fight, they will use it to defeat the enemies or the people they're fighting. How? If you beat this drum, and the enemies or the people you are fighting with will get dizzy, and then you kill them, and then you pass. We are still tracing of. Some are still saying it is still in England. Some say it's in Pretoria. But the Ngoma Rungun was the magic drum of the Venda people, and it used to be carried by 6 people. You will see when we get to the museum. 6 people, 3 men in front, 3 men behind, and it will be in the middle. And they will be carrying this pole which passes through, and it's hanging. When they rest, it was not allowed to touch soil. It has to be hanged on top of the trees. Right. Now, many people who remained behind as far as up to Zimbabwe came to honor this man here. And that ring there, that's the original Dzata rings that we still have got up to date. If you see those stones are the oldest, that's a shale type of rock. They're coming from Zimbabwe. And these other walls that we have, the three ones, has been renewed, has been pegged after somewhere around 79 when Venda became an independent, a republic, to start marketing strategy of tourism around this area as land of legend. That was the marketing strategy of the then Republic of Venda. It is still working today. Then, now from this side, when you enter to the Royal Crown, somewhere before you reach the Royal Crown, you will find men under a certain tree seated well, and these men are the soldiers, the inspectors in fact. What they will do, if you get in there and you said you need to meet the king today, they will first inspect you. How do they inspect you? They will tell you to do what we call frog jump from a certain distance to where they are. And they will be inspecting you if unalima rumo, because if you have got other guys, they can easily see from your jumping frog. And when you do the frog jumping until you arrive to where they are. That was a way of inspecting. And then let me explain about this one. If you look on top of this one, you will see some stones facing up. What happened when they pegged these stones, they tried to put up the stones as a way of counting the children of the royal family. Remember, only boys were counted. Right, now they are no longer there, and I don't know how many were there, but this was a way of trying to tell the people that were coming that this family was having so many boys. All right, now I would like us to walk further a little bit up there to explain further about the setup of the crown. Piles of stones and piles of stones. It has been excavated by the University of Pretoria also for research, and some of the things found to show that there were people staying around. And now the royal family setup. The king's palace will be the one in the far behind. The building always will have a protection strategy. Then behind the fence there will be always a escape route for the king if something is happening, and a place where the king will sit, especially on days when the weather didn't allow him to see people. I will explain the thing. So weather didn't allow him. What is the meaning of that? So now, next to the palace, normally it must be the traditional healer's house. And the traditional healer's house, the traditional healer mostly will not be from this house of the king. Even if he is from another family, he will be absorbed, he will be swallowed and stay with his wife and children as if they are members of the royal family. Completely they move and stay with the royal family, and the children will get same treatment as if they are of the royal family. In other words, the traditional healer will eat food that are bought by the king, and the children will be going to school, and the monies will be paid by the king.
How were they chosen?
According to their level of healing powers and the good way of doing things. Okay. So now, what is the reason of the traditional the traditional healer's house to be more closer to the palace? Because the king will dream sometimes even in the night and scream, and you know, if the king screams, the first person to go to the door of the king must be the traditional healer with the bones, the dices. Then he will throw down the dices and tell the king about the dream. Every day in the morning before the king moves out of the palace, the traditional healer has a work to come to the door and throw down the dices and predict the weather. Not this geographical weather. Will tell the king, say, the weather does not allow you to meet people Western advice. Therefore, the king will adhere to what the traditional healer said. He will then tell the senior people, those who are closer to him. I don't have to see people today. Whosoever will come at the entrance, he will be told, the king is not around. Come back next week. That's what even the premiers and the presidents are still doing.
Yeah.
If their diaries are kept by the secretary, you phone the secretary. Even if the president is in the office, he will tell you he will be back next week. He has gone to Belgium. So now, the king will stay at the chair behind the fence, inside the fence, but behind the houses. He will spend the whole day staying there, so he will not meet people. In other words, this weather prediction will be warning the king, if you meet people, they may either poison your food or whatever they can do, witchcraft, whatever, and all those other things. You understand?
So the traditional healer was his protector, like,
Yes.
in a way.
Yes. And that's why now we will explain when we come to the marriage side of it. Marriage. The king can marry as many wives as he can, because every time there is what we call Domba dance, python dance, the king must choose one wife. And remember, ladies, you do. Yes.
Yeah.
The
Like
style that is used by Mswati is exactly what was practiced amongst the Venda people.
Oh, okay.
So every time they have got Domba, they must choose. That's how do they call it reed dance?
Reed dance, yeah.
Yes. So similar, but the difference maybe is they call it reed dance. This we call Domba dance. And they will choose the wives. So it means the king and the chief must not run
Reed dance is
for the Swati people.
But I think they should be having a name of theirs, like you have in Domba.
Yeah.
Surely they don't call it reed dance.
Yeah,
No,
I think
they
there is a
have
short
the
name.
They have the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the king and the king's area or the chief's area or the home must not run short of children, because they are also the family protectors. That is why in the Venda culture, when you enter into each household, you will, in the evening, you will find a place where the boys will make fire and they stay there because they are soldiers. If you get in and you start trouble, you will not get out, because there is only one entrance and the soldiers are around the fire there. So the royal family must have as many boys as they can. So it means many wives. To have many boys, you must have many wives. Now, the king will stay in his palace, and if he has got 8 wives, he will not exchange to go to the wife's houses. The wife will exchange to come to the palace. And each time you get to the house, that's where now the ladies will start to be jealous with one another. They say, this one is witching. If you get to the house, you sleep with the king until you become pregnant. Then once you are pregnant, you move out until you get a child, and you breastfeed the baby for 3 years. And then the other one will come, get pregnant and go. The other one will come and get pregnant and go. In the royal family, the real setup is there are 2 kitchens. The kitchen that is specially cooking for the king, and the other kitchen for the rest of the house. And the person who will cook for the king is the lady who is sleeping with the king at that particular moment, and having the key of the kitchen where she cooks. Because if that is not the case, the other ladies will be jealous that she is not getting pregnant fast, and then poison the king, so that they will say, is she? Then she has got the key, and she doesn't give these keys to any other person. She will cook and lock. Always open, cook and lock. Then there was a nice question when we were on the way. I don't know whether we were on the way, whether it was yesterday. What about if this lady is not getting pregnant? The traditional healer is there. It's for the whole family, to assist the whole family. And if this lady is not getting pregnant, the traditional healer will have to check on that and mix some herbs and then treat the lady. And then she gets pregnant, and then that's fine.
God, we must wait until pregnancy.
Yeah.
Because in our culture, there was nothing that people could not heal. One question. Like today, the thing it's still treated in our area. Even a lemon was a velemana, a sanchamba, a bonamajaji, there's no way that she cannot get a child. I bet you.
That's it.
Yeah, no stress. No
Yeah.
stress.
You see, as long as you can still see periods, and you didn't take out the womb,
Yeah.
and our
You never done abortion.
abortions, yeah, I bet you.
And Nelson, I was going to ask you a quick question. Sorry to jump in. When women have a period,
Yes.
what is the Venda tradition with that? Do they send them away? Because I know in Native American
Yes.
culture,
Yes.
they send them away. They're not even allowed to approach the tribe. They take them food out there to a rock, and they don't even see them. They put the food on the rock, and then they must come. And then when they're finished having the period, they can come back to the tribe.
With our culture, you don't send them away, but they don't go for sexual intercourse
Okay.
until the period is over.
Okay.
Then they will get into the house. The other nice thing about that, the issue of older people to marry young wives, as Rufara Tonga, the last wife, comes from the menstruation cycle of women. They get out. In others, words, they see their menopause period
Yeah.
earlier, first at 40, 50.
Yeah.
And men doesn't go for that. So in our culture, you don't sleep with a lady who has gone for menopausing. It has got a disease. Then
Yeah.
so in olden days, that was like, once you find you are a woman and you have gone for menopausing period,
No more
you
action.
no more action.
Shame.
So now
Hectic.
you will see now.
Oh, you get sick. They're getting sick, part, man.
They get what?
They're getting sick. You say otherwise you get sick.
Yes, the women will get sick.
Oh, the
If you have sex,
women
yes.
during the menopause.
After menopause, it
Yeah.
means after menopause you can't have sex.
Now, I
Not
think
bad.
that part. What happens during the process whereby you are in menstruation as a girl or a woman? What happens to them? Like when they're in us?
Yeah, what
No,
happens
you don't
during
have
that
sex.
time? They're still
Yeah,
allowed
but-
to stay with the tribe
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
With us, we don't send them away.
because the Native Americans,
But there's no sex.
Yeah, there's no sex, but they
Yeah.
stay here. They can cook for you. They can do whatever.
because indigenous American people, they say, because I mean, I don't know, I don't want to insult the girls or anything, but you know, sometimes like when your lady's like on a period, I mean, just crazy. Like, I mean, they can do stuff that, you know, in the way the North Americans do, because it doesn't affect the tribe if they're over there,
Yeah.
you know.
Let me tell you from that experience. Many fightings in the houses is not because of anything. I'm not sure about what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I just want to take you to sexual intercourse. Many fightings in the houses are not from anything. Should you satisfy your wife, even if she's angry,
Yeah.
she will keep quiet.
Yeah.
Go and practice it.
That's
If
true.
you find your
That's
wife
true.
is angry today, sleep with them,